Okay, well, we are going to get started. I am Karen Roberto. For some of you who have been coming to these for the past couple quarters, my voice might sound familiar, which is great. So welcome. If it's your first time, I am the Vice President of Marketing here at TOPS, and I'm really excited to dig in and help show you all what we're working on over here at TOPS. But thank you for jumping ahead, guys. We've got a couple people now on with us. This continues to grow, and it's been really exciting to see this. We've got Adam Pierce, who's the product marketing manager here at TOPS, presenting with us today, along with myself. I'm just here for entertainment. You just let me know if you need anything. We've got Christoph Gustovich, who is our Chief Information Officer over our product team, and we've got Etha Bose, who is joining on as our customer training manager. So she's going to be walking through some of the demo that will be highlighting what we've been working on. So I want to jump ahead to the next slide. For those of you that are new to TOPS, we just always like to take a minute here and reiterate a little bit about who we are. Ultimately, we've been around for 30 years, right? And at the core, we have an accounting system that's been driving home excellence and community operations for years. But what we've grown out of that is a full end-to-end comprehensive suite of all things community operations. So we always like to let you know what we're working on outside of accounting with engagement, communications, AP and AR, integrations, as well as the full, obviously, operations suite, as well as full accounting services and bookkeeping services here at TOPS. So ultimately, we exist to do one thing for you, and that is to simplify the way that you operate communities and manage them. So thank you all for joining. We'll kick it over to the next slide one more time. One notable kind of newsworthy thing we want to bubble up to you all too, just letting you know, we're in marketing, right? We've got to take 1 minute and just take a humble brag here and say, we're really excited that we've been named once again a leader in G2. G2 exists with third-party information from customers and users out there in the space to tell us what they like about us and obviously rank us against other options you have. So we're really excited to have you here today. We've won again for usability, that the momentum of growth that we've seen, as well as just a leader in the space. So always like to brag, and we'll keep going, and just want to make that note here. Jump ahead. So again, really looking to innovate our solutions continuously every quarter. We really started doing these quarterly releases in the beginning of this year, and we started really touting out to you all the innovation designed to simplify, right? Which is everything that you're going to see here is in focus on continuing to enact that promise to you all. So this is what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. We've got these fun little cartoons here, but if this sounds like you, then this is the webinar for you, right? That your current refund process is confusing, that you spend 60% of your day completing repetitive manual tasks, setting up communities is more difficult than it needs to be, being charged for payment coupon books that aren't needed, more efficient ways to communicate with residents, with multiple property folks, and having folks to actually choose how they manage communications and group ownership. So if you'd like to jump over. Thank you. I'm actually going to go ahead and toss this over to Adam Pierce, and he's going to talk a little bit about the trends that we're seeing in the market and how we're responding to technology needs, and how we've grouped some of this release in answering those trends as they come up in the market. Adam, go ahead.
Thanks, Karen. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us. So as Karen said, I'm going to talk about some of the trends that have inspired this quarter's release. We keep tabs both on the industry as well as we get feedback from our customers. We have a feedback loop that we use that we've heard directly from you. And for some of you, you'll see firsthand that a lot of that was used this quarter on a lot of the features, especially with AR and AP enhancements that are going to be later showed in the demo. So we did hear you, and we did make some changes, and we think you're going to love them. So the first kind of pillar or focal area is automating the manual, and this is one of my favorites. We touched on a little bit last quarter, but we have grown its capabilities this quarter. To me, I always like it because it reminds me of a little sci-fi growing up, having machines do the work for you, but who's going to complain about that. So now you have the ability to take a group of manual tasks and connect them together to complete a process and schedule them to run automatically. Things like your AP processes, collections, payments, etc. So now you can set them and forget them, which is really, really cool. And it's the next level in software that really reinforces our promise to simplify and remove distractions from your daily operations. For measuring and optimize operations, we want to make sure you have the information and KPIs you need at your fingertips to help manage your communities and your businesses. So really what that means is different dashboards, indicators, reporting. We did a lot of reporting work last quarter. We're continuing to move forward with that and improve our software in that area. We're bringing new features to drive operational efficiencies, such as the AR and AP improvements. And if I'm going too fast, I've had probably too much coffee, so I'll try to slow down. We know community management is a full-time job and residents' needs are ever changing. Staying connected to your residents and even fostering a sense of community requires a lot of time and the right tools. We focused a lot of the development this quarter on creating community management tools that will help you set up new communities, which before was kind of a pain, and it took a long time, and we heard was very frustrated, could even be broken down into a couple of days. And then new efficiencies gained with resident communications, offering preferences and choices. For seamless integrations, we actually have been hard at work with a few vendors and key partners for banking. And so we've continued to evolve our API strategy to provide seamless integrations with key vendors such as banking, that allows TOPS to continue and expand our capabilities to ensure we're serving up the best in class software. We're going to touch a little bit on it and later on about what we can do and all the capabilities, and we have multiple choices for you. So on the next slide, let's go into some of these features. So you heard me briefly talk about seamless integrations. So quarter over quarter, TOPS is continuing to grow our API strategy. Last quarter, if you were here, you probably heard we focused on building out capabilities with third-party services such as South Data. They helped us create an in-app experience that alleviated the need to go to a third-party website when ordering coupon books. So we didn't want to stop there. We listened to you and we listened to the industry, and banking is kind of where we ended up for our next big API build out. So we've been working hard to ensure that we have the right APIs in place to onboard new partners as fast as possible. One of the quotes that I've heard tossed around is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So our APIs are constantly evolving behind the scenes to rapidly onboard new partners and vendors all the time.
Yeah, and I might, if I can, Adam, I might kind of talk about this a little bit, if
Sure.
you don't mind. But
Yeah.
guys, we've been really excited. I was with a lot of folks over at a CEOMC last week in Palm Springs, and it's really exciting to see a lot of the kind of key banking partners that we have. And obviously, we've got the smart banking feature that really builds out a lot of our custom API work that we have with folks like CIT, Truist, Pacific Premier, PacWest, Alliance, and a lot of you, might have these banks. We also now, though, have a more out-of-the-box solution with banking aggregation that gives access to over 10,000 banks. So even banks that I saw last week, they're able to have this integration. And by logging into the knowledge base, or if you're new to TOPS, you can reach out and talk to a representative about if your bank is covered in this aggregation. But chances are it is going to be with these 10,000 leverage from this integration.
Right.
Thanks.
Right, Karen. Like the smart banking with those 5 banks that you named cover almost 50% of all the banks our customers use. And so the second option to cover the other half is the banking aggregation, which, like you said, is 10,000. So that's pretty amazing. With over 10,000 banks at your fingertips, we're pretty sure we can get you connected. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. I think we wrapped up banking. So we know that community management is an area where property managers spend a lot of time, and so it makes sense that this is a main focal point for TOPS. The feature release for this community management this quarter are ones that came directly from our customers' feedback, with our goal is to decrease complexity and resources. One of the cool things that we've done is the express community setup. So to be honest, I didn't know how to set up a community at the beginning because I'm relatively new. So I was taken to the process that you guys go through, and it is painful and brutal and takes a long time. So someone came up with the idea of copying and pasting, which was pretty cool. And there is now a new tool that you just put in your new community, you set a target, and then you just start copying over the structure, and it's set up in a matter of like maybe a minute to 2 minutes. You'll see it in the demo later, and it's pretty cool. So the goal with that is to decrease all that manual time that you spent setting up those communities and get started, and to just breeze on through it. So it's a pretty cool tool. And then we also touch on group owners a little bit to set up primary ownership, which helps with documentation and knowing where the mail or email should go to, and just managing multiple communities or properties with one owner. Let's go to the next slide. So this is my favorite. This is automating the manual. So I touched on it with our themes, and this is continuing to be a large area of growth as we learn more about technology in the industry, and also just taking processes that you would have to do on a daily, monthly, even hourly basis and automating them for you. You literally can set them and forget them based on whatever criteria you want to put in. And there is probably 10 to 12 different jobs that you can connect together that run independently, or they can run all at once. So last quarter, we presented that we were increasing the capabilities of TOPS with automation and building the software scalability to continue to grow and connect to other modules. So we're seeing terms like AI and automation popping up in the industry. And as we were the first software of our kind, we also want to stay ahead of the curve with the latest technology trends. So the ability to set your monthly, daily, and hourly processes to run on their own will free up a lot of your time and allow you to focus on your communities and growing your business. Building out an automation workflow manager allows you to easily automate recurring one-time processes or set them and they can run to the end of time. We're even developing templates to get you started, so they're super easy to edit and save, and you can create your own workflows yourself. When you guys get in there and you start creating some of these kind of cool templates and jobs and just kind of running your day-to-day, we'd love to hear some feedback from you and kind of hear what's most valuable to you and what you're doing and what you love about it. And we promise to keep growing the automation aspect of TOPS. So pretty soon you'll just log on and hit a button. So that's our goal. And then with that, let's go to next is measure and optimize operations. So here you'll see it's kind of a plain looking slide, but there's a lot of work in this. There's 9 different bullets listed, and each one translates to a feature or enhancement to our accounts receivable or our accounts payable modules. But I can share with you from Christoph and his development team, this is where a majority of the team's effort was spent this quarter. Some of them were rewriting code that was written before they were born, which made me feel kind of old. Accounting is our core component and heart of our software, and we will always want to be ever evolving and updating it. So we focus on creating new features and updating existing ones to be easier to use and more efficient. Like our security deposit returns. I believe this was like a 12-step process, and now it's been brought down to 3, and there's 2 different options, and one of them is a big red button. So it can't get much easier than that. And then also the ability to carry over your custom codes into the next year. So we know you guys, when you build your plans and your budgets, you have the ability and flexibility to add all these custom codes. Well, we found out that when you transferred into the next year, those all fell off and you had to redo them. And we know that's not the most use of your time. And so we fixed it. I know I've talked a lot about these features and really fast, so I apologize, but I'm going to kick it over to Eve and she will show you them in action.
Momentarily.
Right? As we go. Apparently the presentation doesn't run as fast as me.
I apologize for that. This is Eve Dubose. Some of you have heard me on our monthly webinars for onboarding or other webinars. I've been with TOPS since 2003, and I am here to show you a demo of some of our new release items. So I'm just going to get that started. All right, here we go. So the first thing we're going to look at here is the banking aggregator. And I want to tell you that this is one of my favorite new features. It really is. It's so easy to set up, as you can see here. And what it does, as we mentioned before, it grants access to over 10,000 banks. And that's a lot of banks. So I haven't actually used this with my personal bank account. And the fact that it works with so many bank options is very convenient. It even matches and confirms which accounts you're linking, which is pretty handy. It makes sure that you have that, the second part that makes sure that everything is connected as it should be. And then once you're set up, you have new features like auto reconciliation. And this is going to save you hours every month, as well as updating your balance directly into TOPS for that bank and any pending transactions. So you no longer need to toggle between screens to get banking information when completing transactions in TOPS. The pending transactions alone are worth it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the community setup, another favorite, I'm sure, of many of you. So one of the pain points we were asked to solve is reducing the time and manual steps for setting up a community. And TOPS is focused on our customers' growth and scalability, and we believe that growing our business, growing your business should be a positive experience. So we have created a new tool that allow you to quickly and easily set up those new communities with just a few steps. So this works really well for those of you that have a master community and you like to set that up and copy that information over so it's uniform as far as accounting data. And just so you know, you will see these options for copy community setup under related links in the community homepage after adding your new community. And some of the copy options include accounting periods, chart of accounts, required accounts, codes, and code distribution. And after, as you can see, when you actually copy those over, if you want to review what you copied, you'll have that review button as well, which is pretty handy. And then all that's left after that is to set up your banks and property and owners and a few other details. But really, after that few minutes, you're ready to use that community. I cannot tell you how many people have been waiting for this. I hear about it all the time, and it's a great tool. I have tested it. I've used it. I mean, for those of you that know me, I've spent many years in support, so I heard the voices and the things that they need there. This is exactly what people have asked for. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, you see how fast this is. It can't get any better at all. I mean, you just click the buttons and it runs. I will tell you though that it was going to save you a lot of time. So the next thing is group owners. Many of you have waited for this and we hear you. So group owners is a function that fosters efficiency in communications and community management. And it does this by allowing the grouping of multiple properties to one owner and setting a primary, okay? So it allows you to group and send documents to the designated address. And this is great if you have developers that like to see all their properties together for billing. You know, you want to send statements out and show group owners on statements. That will be a choice. And yes, there is absolutely a group owner report that will give you that added convenience. So group owners is here and wonderful. The next thing we have on screen here is the owner communication preferences. So we've expanded these preferences you know and love for print and email. For the owner communication preferences, we've created a feature that allows you to your residents to receive important information via print or email now, like general mailings, CCR, collection notices, billings, and statements. You have the option to set it up individually or for the entire community. And I want to tell you, this is actually a sneak peek. I forgot to tell you in the beginning, this is a sneak peek. It is about to be out very soon. But once it's enabled, residents will have the ability to set themselves up as well via the portal, and that means less work for your management office. The next thing we have here is the workflow manager. This is another enhancement, just makes TOPS 1 better, right? So with our new workflow automation manager, you can create a set of jobs to be completed at different frequencies, such as monthly, daily, weekly, hourly, and it's familiar to you. You have the option to create one from scratch or use the pre-populated templates, which personally, that's what I prefer to use. It just makes it easier. You just change the name, save the job as a new template. And you can even add or remove jobs or change the order of execution and their scheduled time. So that means you can set it to only run after the previous job ran, which is better for accuracy. So for example, you could set something to apply prepaids before you did apply charges, or apply prepaids before you applied interest, whatever you'd like to automate. And by the way, for those of you that have the automation, this will continue to just be another enhancement on top of that. The automation does still exist. Now we just also have workflows on top of your scheduled jobs. And another sneak peek we have that I can go over is the apply prepaid. And most of you may say, well, we do have apply prepaids, I know that, but TOPS now offers flexibility to utilize prepaid function. And again, this is a sneak peek, but when deleting charges and positive balances occur, you'll have the option to place the balance into a specific charge type or in a general bucket. This way, funds can be utilized. So as you can see, you hit delete, and then the residents with prepaid balances will now will not show as delinquent by doing this. It takes away that extra step in deleting the apply prepaids as well. And it saves a little time, but a little time adds up to a lot of time. So that is a pretty handy thing. So you don't have to think about that extra step. All right, the next thing we have here, and we're almost done, promise, is the manual check writing report and audit log. So this is a change to our accounts payable invoice process for handwritten checks, okay? And we saw a need for a log of all handwritten checks that you have. And this is complementary to what we released last quarter. So now you can set you can set it to be a handwritten check, and when you write that, you're going to go ahead and post it, and then you'll be able to go into your reports. Okay, a lot of you wanted the report very similar to what we had last quarter for printed checks. Just the need was there. So now when you go into the check register, you can choose that option on the right for transaction type, and you see now you have the option for handwritten check. You can go ahead and select that, and then using the detail options, the handwritten transaction type will allow you to see those individual invoices as well as the check details, and you can see those handwritten checks. So that is a very specific report you'll be able to print, very helpful in time. And it's pretty nice as far as that goes. I don't know, I have heard quite a few people saying that they would like a separate report for handwritten checks, so this is pretty handy. And there they all are. All right, and the last thing we're going to go over is setting the effective date to the current date. This is a global feature, and you go into the admin section. This option will again save time in editing the date, as it will default to the current date as the effective date. And this was direct feedback we received that we wanted to follow up on, something that a lot of people wanted. Obviously, you don't have to utilize this function, but if it is for you, if you would like the effective date to be set as the current date, it's going to be super handy for whenever you're entering in invoices and such. So again, this was direct feedback, and we do listen. And we hope you all love the changes in this quarter as much as I do personally. And if you ever have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you, Eve. That was amazing. Obviously you've been here a long time and getting a lot of the voice of the customers back, and you're starting to see a lot of those changes come to fruition. Speaking of changes, we did want to take a brief moment because there's so much coming out, from the last quarter and previous quarters and what's coming out now and what will be coming. We wanted to have our CIO, Christoph, give you all a little insight, just a quick recap on what has come out, just as a quick refresher, and then what this full release entails, as well as what's coming. So I'll kick it over to Christoph.
Thank you, Karen. So I'm not going to take up a whole lot of your time. I think the most important piece was Adam and Eve communicating, but I do believe giving you a little bit of insight of what we've been doing, what we just released, what we're going to be releasing, to give you a little bit of a hint of what's coming up in the next few quarters. So if this is your first webinar, some of the information we've sent in previous webinars is a big list of what we've been enhancing and adding in new features. It's been a pretty big year for us to really take a step back and look at our application in a simplification, automation. How do we improve on where we are, and how do we develop new enhancements that get you guys farther along? And while we've done a great job with, really a completely new workflow automation environment and having user session timeout issues, and there's been a whole lot of things that have been done this last year that really have taken this step farther. I do want to hit on the next slide to recap a little bit more. Adam and Eve have already talked through this. I'm really excited about some of the things like the bank aggregation. Basically, I like to think about it as it's what QuickBooks and Quicken and all them have had for so long, and it's so standard for them, but not standard in so many enterprise applications such as our competitors. We are the only ones that have something as vast as this, being able to go out to 10,000 banks. There's no other software that's doing that in our field. So we are very proud of being able to release that. The Express community, I think, shows to that simplification. How do we make your job easier? And when you get a new community and you have to build a new community, why should it take you so much time to replicate everything you've done in other communities? You should be able to just say, I want that same stuff over here, and then populate it with the stuff that is going to be different, like homeowners and other things. So you're going to see a lot of those kind of things following through, continuing for the future. And we're really excited about it. Eve. So the last thing is a little bit of a, again, as Eve says, sneak peek into kind of what we're looking at in the future. We've said this before, we're still working on it. It's been in development, UI, UX modernization. We really want to take the UI piece, make it more modern, give you a better look to the product, include true Android and iPhone modernization UI aspects for the phones. And then from a UX perspective, if people don't know the UI, UX terms, UI is the look, UX is how do I take it, like Adam said, from 13 steps to 3 steps. That's what we're looking at. Everything we're looking at is if you touch you have to hit 5 buttons to make it happen. How do we make that 1? And that's really what we're concentrating a lot on. Accounting improvements, that's going to be there every single quarter. We are always going to treat accounting as a critical aspect to this application and to your lives. It's something that we've built our reputation on. We're going to continue to advance faster and better than anybody else in our field. TOPS pay improvements, really trying to allow you to get your AR receipts in faster, quicker, and easier. And that's really the whole aspects of TOPS pay. You do see at the bottom QuickBooks Sync. That's an exciting one. If you're going to be a new customer, or if you're coming from QuickBooks, or you haven't brought all of your communities over to TOPS One, giving you a tool that will be able to sync it from QuickBooks Online and bring all of your accounting information and just populate it within the TOPS One application. Very exciting. Reporting and business analytics are going to be there. We are really taking a big dive into that. What we've been releasing was small changes, big win, small wins that get you guys a lot for what we could do, but we're really going to ramp that up, and you're going to see a big change to that in coming quarters. I'm going to give you that community transfer sneak peek. This is not just now taking communities and being able to replicate them within your TOPS 1 environment, but we've heard a lot of customers say when a community offboards from us and becomes a legacy community, they want all their stuff back. They might be going to another TOPS 1 company. Can I push a button through an approval process? Can I push this button, get the right approvals on your side, sending it out, on the receiving side, sending it in, and that data can just go from one customer to another customer. Default templates, and then of course stability and performance improvements. Default templates, people tend to forget about templates, are just, hey, we should be able to build templates. Ours has been pretty rigid, pretty inflexible. What we're really trying to solve for is customers can't really easily create, update, manage, view, populate default templates within the template manager, and being able to solve for that so you guys have more flexibility, can create your own templates, can replace templates, can update them with ease. And so that's a big one. And then the last, stability and performance. We're really trying to, while the stability of TOPS 1 has been there, and we've seen a huge stability improvement in things like portals and other things, what we're trying to do now is really take that performance and ramp it up. How do we make each button you click implement and react instantly? How do we make that much more fluid? And so that's a little bit of what we see in the future that's coming, and we are excited to provide these webinars to each quarter and show the advancements we're making. Karen?
Thank you, Christoph. Obviously, guys, thanks for allowing us so many people to weigh in. And thank you, team, for jumping in. Obviously, this is really important to us that both prospective customers and customers are able to see what it is that we're working on, right? We're really trying to be transparent so and that this is a direct reflection of what we're hearing from our customers and prioritizing those advancements to ensure we're working the system the way you need it to work. So obviously, this is the time where we start taking some questions. I have seen a bunch come through. I can't promise we'll get to all of them. By the way, one of my favorite questions was just everyone talks more slowly. So I really appreciate that. So I'm going to take a beat and say, take a couple questions, give a couple answers. For any that we do not have on or get to on this call, we're going to follow up with you. We've got your email, of course. So one of the questions was, well, this one's very simple. It's at the top of my list, so I'm just going to answer quickly. Just a big thank you. Will we be able to get a recording after we are done? Absolutely. We always send out a recording if you register for the webinar. You also have knowledge base articles in the knowledge base that support all of the how-tos on these assets, along with some video pieces there too. So do not feel like this is the only way to see the features. You have a lot of support within your knowledge base from this release. If we bank with a bank that is not part of the API, is there a simple way of processing AR from a lockbox? And the answer is yes. Standard lockbox import feature will allow you to import the lockbox file from any bank that into TOPS 1, right? So you can update homeowners for the payments received and GL for that cash received through lockbox. For those using TOPS Pro, that someone had a question about, this being very focused on one, and this is focused on one. Absolutely, the advancements we're continuing to make on our platform are very focused on one. If you're on Pro, we'd love to talk to you about it. Feel free to reach out and we can help provide a process into getting you into TOPS 1 and taking advantage of these updates, right? There is a question about community setup. When will this be available and how will it work? That is available now, and we'll share the recording with everyone, as we mentioned, after, and you can see Eve doing the demo in that recording. So, and then what is the name for a report for a handwritten check? That is located in standard reports for those in the check registry report. And by the way, all these answers will also be in the recording, so don't feel like you need to take feverish notes if you are. But when you're in that check registry report, just select handwritten checks from the drop down and you'll be able to navigate there. Lots still coming through. I am going to say we're going to follow up. There's about literally 40 more, guys. I'm sorry. I thought I'd try to get through a couple that I could just kind of quick pick off and give you guys answers on. And obviously there's a lot more coming through that we're going to continue to support, and we'll follow up later with you all. But first, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here today. There's hundreds of you literally on here, and we're so excited to continue to offer up both solutions that are continuing to advance, as well as solutions to those who haven't made their decision yet and wanted to show you what's new with us. Again, I'm Karen Roberto. I can be reached along with any members of our team at marketing@topsoft.com. Thank you, Eve. Thank you, Adam. And thank you, Christoph. And most importantly, thank you all for joining us today. We know your time is precious, and we appreciate you spending some of it with us. So have a great day, and we'll be in touch and shoot out this recording here shortly. And please let us know if we can answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.